Hello and welcome to Speedcubing 101. This is episode 11. I am Cube Mom and I'm so happy you are here. I was hoping to get this episode out to you earlier because we have a recap of the Great Lakes Championship and I didn't want to leave it too long. I was working on it last week and then this last weekend in Canada we had Thanksgiving and Friendsgiving, but I'm really excited that I can get this out to you before the 2-day comp that we're going to this weekend. In today's episode, I chat with a family who is new to cubing. Their names are Kate and Mike Broad. They live in Washington State. I know I've gone on and on about visiting comps and not knowing much about the world of speedcubing before my cubers started competing. I wanted Kate and Mike on so that they could share their story because theirs is much more common than mine. And I think stories like theirs will become more and more common as time goes on. I need to also note that I recorded the interview with Kate and Mike in Bellevue, Washington at a competition, and we did not plan it this way, but you will hear a little bit of the excitement that happens for a particular event in their cubing community. Maybe it's the same for yours, maybe not. There will also be a couple of tips from delegates after Kate and Mike, and then I have a special guest recapping the Great Lakes Championships. He's one of the organizers. He's also a delegate and also the current world record holder for Scoob. That's Carter Kucala, and thank you, Carter, for making time last week after a big comp and managing time zones with me to bring the Great Lakes recap to Speedcubing 101. But right now, let's get started with Kate and Mike Broad. Okay, welcome to Speedcubing 101. Today, since our topic is on your first competition, I have with me parents of a cuber, and their experience was very different from mine. Their experience is probably more common and going to be more common because their cuber is a walking encyclopedia of cubing, and their cuber had all of that information before even the first competition that he competed in. And I'm getting nods from the parents here. So welcome today to Kate and Mike. How are you?
Good.
Doing great.
Glad to be here.
You got to talk like right here.
Oh,
Good.
we're
Glad
doing
to
great.
be here.
Yes.
And thank you for coming because your cuber is here, but you're actually not in the competition. I think, did you miss the day, the time, or were you waitlisted?
Waitlisted.
So take me to the beginning. You've got this kid. When did this kid start learning about cubing?
Well, it all started his school every spring, which we just found out last year. When you're in third grade, you can join Rubik's Cube Club. And the way that they brought it all together was they said, everyone, here's a cube. We're going to do our best to be able to solve it within an hour within I think it was 4 weeks, maybe 6 weeks. And then that just became his real driving goal, was to be able to do that by the end and collect a medal.
So at this point at home, did he have a cube or just at school?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he did. One, I don't remember if he had gotten it for Christmas or, yep. Getting nods from Kate here.
Okay, so you got one at Christmas and then learned about Cube Club and that there was a medal for learning how to solve. And
yeah, it started out with getting online and watching JPerm, trying to learn the beginner's method and just supplement what he was getting from the school. And then the more that he sat there and learned it and then started diving deeper into the videos and finding other YouTubers like C3 Cubing, he just really started to sink in, and it was just amazing watching him absorb a new hobby out of nowhere.
were there other hobbies that came and went before this? What were you thinking when you were noticing this cubing stuff? Oh.
Well, his big thing has always been he really likes video games. He likes playing board games. So like puzzles, things like that. So it all sorts of things that really align with this spatial kind of activity. Always liked math as far as schooling went.
Do you want to add something here, Kate?
Yeah, sure. So we have tried, I feel like, every sport under the sun. And those are the hobbies that have really come and gone. And we've put a lot of money into them, buying gear. But with this one, his passion for it, he just shows. And before we knew it, he was solving the 3x3 and he was doing it under 2 minutes. And I thought that was pretty cool. And then we started watching more YouTube videos. And then we realized, wait a minute, this is a thing. And there's competitions and there's solving it under 2 minutes is really cool, but there's a lot more that we can do here.
And so what is Cuber saying about all this? And what is Cuber saying once Cuber learns about competitions as well?
So the competition scene really was introduced to us from Z3Cubing on YouTube. I was actually really nervous that competitions weren't going to live up to those expectations because it looked like a lot of fun. There was a lot of people that were talking to each other, a lot of friends that it looked like we could make. And so going into that first competition, we were, like I said, I was nervous that it wasn't going to live up to expectations, but it was exactly what we saw online. It was a very welcoming environment. I think we were there for maybe the first 10 minutes and another family had already come up and introduced themselves to us and we'd already made a friend. And so it was really cool and loved the community.
Okay, so at that point, Cuber was just doing 3x3 and decided I want to compete. And so you were able to find the website and sort out the registration and everything. And then you went and it did live up to your expectations of what you had seen.
Yeah, we got really lucky that our first competition was about 20 minutes away, and it was in Linwood, Washington. It was the Pacific Northwest Regionals. So
that's a big one.
It was 300 competitors.
Oh, wow.
It was big. It's still, I think,
Wow.
the biggest one we've been to, actually.
And so you understood what was happening when there is that many competitors and so much happening in a crowd?
Definitely watching Z3Cubing helped. So we had seen those videos and we got there at the very beginning of competition day, so we had a lot of time where we were just sitting and observing before Kyron actually had to compete, and I think that really helped calm our nerves anyway as parents that it was going to be okay. I think the thing that terrified me the most about the competition was that Kyron was asked to judge right away, and I was like, he's only 9. Why? What do you mean he has to judge? Can I do it for him? And I remember the delegate told me, no, it's okay. The kids do it all the time.
And how was it?
It was great. I was really, really proud of Kyron for just jumping in and doing it. And there was no fear in that kid's eyes. And that amazed me because I was terrified for him.
If I remember right, I think he actually said, oh, this might actually be more fun than competing.
The judging part, yeah.
Yeah, the judging.
Okay, so now how many competitions?
Do you remember how many competitions? I don't know, maybe
It's gotta
5
be
or
something
6?
Like 5, yeah. Yeah, we did the one in Linwood, Washington, and then Camp Panhandle, and Kent, Washington, Portland, Tacoma. So yeah, I think that's 5. Yep.
Yeah. And in Portland, you both got your first taste of judging. Can you share about that?
I'll go because I think judging is now my most favorite thing about cubing competitions. I learned so much judging, watching other kids, watching their techniques. I also got to watch, excited parents out in the audience taking video of their kids. It really made the experience for me, and now I feel like I'm a part of the community.
And Mike, because you judged as well.
Well, it's just kind of amazing seeing like the characteristics that everyone has, as far as they're just really here to try to better themselves and put out the best time that they possibly can. And where you really see that in judging is no one's there like trying to game the system. You can actually ask them like, I'm not sure what just happened. Can you explain to me? And they'll tell you what they did wrong. And it's just, I think it's a great characteristic of the sport that everyone just seriously wants to do better.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So what suggestions would you have for a parent of a cuber who hasn't competed yet or is interested in competing but not sure? What would you say?
I would definitely say don't be afraid of those YouTube videos. They're out there for a reason. We've mentioned J Perm and Z3Cubing a couple of times. And then the second thing is to truly just go into it and have fun. It is a competition, but it's a competition between your cuber and their own time, and everyone around them is willing to help and go in and ask questions, and don't be afraid to go up to other parents and say, hey, I'm a cubing parent. My favorite question to ask now is, how far have you traveled for a competition? And we've received so many different answers, up to and including people getting on airplanes and flying to them.
Yep. And that's for a local comp.
It is, yep.
Mike, your suggestions?
Yeah, I think just don't be afraid to just let them go in and just settle in with their group of people. I know we were worried about him maybe feeling rejected or something, because like what we were saying about maybe it wouldn't line up with his expectations, which were very much, I'm going to go in and sit down and everyone's just going to want to talk about cubing, and that's exactly what it's been. He just goes in, he finds his people immediately, and I'm looking at him right now, and he's just with that table over there, having a great time.
And something else about you as new cuber parents, you've really, okay, so you've helped with judging. You've also bought quite a bit of attire for yourselves. What do you recommend for those parents who want to do that as well?
So I'm definitely a kind of jump in and go all the way type of parent. And like I said about sports earlier, when we go in, we go all in. And yeah, for our first competition, I felt like I had to have a cubing mom shirt. And so I bought one, I think, on Speedcube shop. But yeah, it made it more fun.
How did you know about them? You just knew about them from looking at the website? Or did you see other parents and videos?
I just, honestly, when I was shopping on Speedcube shop for the first time, wanted to buy enough to get free shipping. And so I looked at the attire, and that's where I saw they had a nice cubing mom and cube dad. And then I can't remember what shirt Kyron wanted, whatever J Perm was wearing, I think. So it was definitely a ploy from the store, but it worked.
Everyone, keep your dehydrated ended. Now we're beginning the best event, clock.
That's adorable.
I'm not sure the mic picked that up, but I'm leaving it in if it did.
I hope so.
So I'm sure you're excited about Worlds coming up, because you just have to drive 20 minutes to get there.
Yeah, not too far.
Not much longer.
But you've seen enough competitions and you've been watching. What would be your wishes or dreams for the WCA, for competitions?
Yeah, so I'm really excited to see the WCA continue to grow. I think my hope and my dream, though, is that it stays a close-knit, very inclusive community. This is one of the very few communities where I feel like all skill levels are accepted, all shapes and sizes, all genders, and it's just so inclusive, and I hope it doesn't lose that as it grows.
So what do you think it is about cubing? Like you say, you've tried sports, you've tried other hobbies. What is it about cubing that your cuber just loves and is so obsessed about?
I feel like for at least our kiddo, it's that he's one of the few kids in his little friend group at school that can do it. And so it's unique and it's fun, but it's something that almost everyone in the world knows what a Rubik's Cube is. And for our kiddo, at least, that's really motivating.
Yes, even at the border today coming here, once I say, oh, we're going to a Rubik's Cube competition, there's this impressed look on the border guard's face. And are you interested in competing as well, or just to learn?
Yeah, so part of the way that Kyron learned was I actually taught him a lot of the beginner's method because I was watching the YouTube videos and learning myself. And so I've been thinking about competing just for fun. And then the FTO that's out now,
yes.
So the face-turning octahedron, am I saying that correctly? That one is one that I'm currently learning, and I would like to see it become a WCA event, so when we're at competitions, if they're going to do unofficials, I'm going to join for the numbers.
All right.
A little bit more on the opposite end there, where I keep trying to learn the beginner's method and getting about 3 steps in and saying, okay, I need to focus on something else now. But yeah, I think that would ultimately be great to be able to come here with Kyron and just compete as well.
Wow, there's going to be a whole family competing. I think there's a lot of momentum building for FTO. You have one?
We have 4 of them.
Okay, so how many puzzles do you have at home for cubing?
Oh, do you have any idea?
No, I have no idea. We should get him over here to tell us.
Is it over 50?
I don't think it's over 50.
No,
Probably
I don't
25
think
to
so.
35.
We have that many?
Yes.
I was going to guess like 10.
Oh, no, I have 10 of my own, I'm sure.
This is why they're all stuck in his bag, so I don't
Yes.
see them.
Hi, friend.
Hello.
We have a question for you because your parents don't know the answer.
Okay.
How many cubes do you have at home, or how many puzzles do you have?
Well, I don't know exactly, but probably around like 30 to 45.
Okay, and what's your favorite one?
Well, probably the GE clock. I think that's a really fun one. And honestly, 3x3. So yeah, all of those are really fun. And another one that I really like is the calendar cube. I don't know what's produced by.
Yes, yes. Do you do that every day, that one?
I used to, but now I don't.
Okay, okay.
It's probably on like March 20th or something.
You should put it on July 3rd.
Okay.
Do you know why?
Why?
That's when World starts. Are you going to
Okay.
Worlds?
I think so. Just not competing.
And can you tell me who your favorite cubers are?
My favorite world record holder is Timon Koloskensky. And I also like Felix Zemdegs and also Max Park.
And so who would you really want to meet?
Timon.
And what would you say?
I would probably ask for an autograph and then ask for him to teach me how to pseudo slot.
How to what?
Pseudo slot.
All right, I'm supposed to know what that is. All
Yes,
right,
you
okay,
are.
I'm supposed to. I know where he is right now, but it's not here. He's at the Great Lakes Championships in Louisville, Kentucky. But if he's at Worlds, maybe you will get an autograph
Yeah.
and ask him that question that I don't even remember what you said now. Hey, do you have anything you want to say to somebody who's a new cuber who wants to go to a competition but hasn't gone to one yet? What would you say?
If you haven't gone to a competition yet, then before you go, you should probably learn some simple things like +2s or DNFs, and also kind of like knowing what the vibe will be going in beforehand is very helpful. Like knowing if it's going to be a thing where it is like really big or really small, and that really just depends to which competition you're going to.
And how would you find out all that information?
Probably like YouTube was my source, but there are probably other things that would also work.
Okay. All right. Thank you for your time.
You are welcome.
Is this the first podcast you've been on?
Yeah.
All right. I'll tell you when it's available to
Okay.
listen.
Good job.
All right. Thank you to all of you.
Was that fun?
Great job, Kyron.
Good job.
Thank you to the Broad family for your time. And so now you know, if you want to start a conversation with someone at a comp, you can use Kate's question, how far have you traveled for a competition? Or even, so how far did you travel to come here today? As I mentioned earlier, I also have tips from some delegates. Let's start with Ben.
Hi, my name is Ben Royce. I've been competing since 2015, and I'm a full delegate for the PNW region. And one tip I have for a new competitor is to just relax a little bit before your first competition. You don't have to spend all night practicing because you might actually practice too much and then your brain will be tired for the next day. So just give yourself a little rest and come well prepared to the competition and you'll do great.
Thank you, Ben. Ben is currently spending some time in Spain, and he is helping with some comps there. And now we have Clancy Castor. He is a trainee delegate in Oregon.
My name is Clancy Castor. I've been cubing for around maybe 10-ish years. I've only been competing since 2017. And for new competitors, I think what's most important is to just have a positive attitude and really focus on kind of your own results and self-improvement. I think some people can get really focused on comparing themselves to others, and I think really focusing on just improving your own times and trying to get new personal bests at competitions can really make the competition more enjoyable and more fun, especially when you're first starting out. It's a lot of fun to see yourself really rapidly improving, and I think just enjoying that process and learning new skills and new events, and I think that really allows you to have a lot of fun with getting into cubing.
Thank you, Ben and Clancy. And if you are a delegate who I've recorded a tip from a delegate with, don't worry, you will be on an upcoming episode of Speedcubing 101.
It's now time for your Cube News.
Okay, welcome to Speedcubing 101. Today I have a special guest with me to recap the Great Lakes Championships that happened on October 4th to 6th, 2024. Today I have with me delegate, Scube World Record holder, Carter Kucala. Thank you for joining me today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Now, we're going to have Carter back on a future episode to find out about his cubing journey, but today he's agreed to give us his time to recap the Great Lakes Championship. So first of all, give us, for those of us who don't know much about, who weren't there and don't know much, where was it? How many events? How many competitors? All of that.
Yeah, so this year we had the Great Lakes Championship in Louisville, Kentucky. First time having the Great Lakes Championship in Kentucky. It's very fun. We had about 250 competitors from all across the Great Lakes region. We had all 17 WCA events over the 3 days. And yeah, it was a really, really great time for everyone.
Wow, 250 competitors. How many stages and stations is that?
Yeah, so we had 4 stages, and each stage had 12 timers. So it's 48 total stations in total.
That's a pretty big event. So Great Lakes covers which states?
Yeah, so basically Great Lakes, it covers all the way from Wisconsin to Ohio. So it's Wisconsin, Illinois, Michigan, Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky.
Okay. And do you know how many times you've had the Great Lakes Championships?
So I believe we had the first one was in 2018 in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and then we've had it 2019, and then took a couple years off for COVID, and then we had it every year since 2022.
Nice. Okay, so tell me some of the highlights.
Sure. So this weekend at the Great Lakes Championships, we had really cool special international guests. One of those is multiple-time world record holder Tymon Kolaczynski from Poland. He's been to some competitions in the U.S. in the past, including Great Lakes Championship last year. So it was really, really cool to have him here again. He won 3x3 at the competition, of course, because he's a lot faster than pretty much everyone else at the competition. And yeah, it was really, really special to have him around and have people be able to meet him. We also had Tingman here, who is a cubing YouTuber from Australia. He's also been in the US for a little bit. So it was really great to have both of those really cool cubers at this competition. And a lot of the people were really, really excited to meet both of them.
Definitely. Was there structure? Was there chaos? Was it a mob around them, or was there scheduled times where they would do meet and greets? How did it go?
Yeah, we had an autograph booth where it was them and then a couple other of our top cubers in the Great Lakes region were able to hang out and just sign autographs, take pictures, stuff like that. I didn't see the line when Timon was doing the autograph booth, but when Tingman was there, the line was out the door. It was pretty crazy. We actually had to cut a little bit short the first time so that we could allow him to go to lunch. Other people were able to get signatures with him later, but it was a lot of more people than we expected with that.
Okay. Do you have like a VIP room for them to retreat to?
For this competition, we ended up we didn't have a specific room, but we did allow we had Tingman back by with us for some of the competition back in kind of a staff only area, just to keep people kind of off of him. Timon in general is pretty good with people and like in the audience. He doesn't have too many issues and is able to. He's pretty used to it at competitions, especially when he travels. So we didn't have a specific spot for him.
So, two special international guests at the Great Lakes Championships. 3x3, well, we know who won. What about the other events?
So one of our fastest cubers in the Great Lakes region is Luke Garrett. Not only is he a great cuber, he's honestly he's a great person, wonderful role model for everyone. He won a lot of the events. He was our Great Lakes champion in 3x3. So to explain what that means, well, everyone is able to be on the podium for any event. We always recognize at our regional championships our Great Lakes champion, which is essentially the fastest person in the Great Lakes region at the competition. So Luke got second overall in 3x3 with the 6.33 average, and he was our Great Lakes champion. And Luke was also our Great Lakes champion in, let me see, I think looks like six events in total.
Wow.
2x2, 4x4, 5x5, 3x3 one-handed, and 5x5 blindfolded. So he had a really good showing at the competition. Yeah, we had a lot of our all of our fast cubers in the region coming for the competition. Stanley Chappell was our Great Lakes champion in almost all of the blindfolded events. We have Jack Pfeiffer, who was our Great Lakes champion in 6x6 and 7x7. They're all very, very fast and ranked very, very highly in the world in their respective events.
And I saw there were trophies. So, was it all the podium finishers got trophies or just the Great Lakes champions? How did it work?
Yeah, so everyone who was on the podium received trophies. Everyone who is a Great Lakes champion in an event, they received plaques. And then we also gave out medals to our state champions in 3x3. A couple years back in, I believe it was 2019, our trophies, they're like spinny trophies where the part that has like the logo on it, it spins around. So it's very, very fun. Everyone really enjoyed that. So we were really excited to be able to bring that back this year, and people were loving that again, which is great to see.
So, for Great Lakes Championships, you've got the trophies, but for local comps, it would be the certificates?
Yeah, normally when we just do local competitions, I mean, it depends on the competition, of course, but usually we just hand out certificates for the top 3 in each event.
Okay, and then anything you want to add about the environment, the vibe, the fans that were there?
I don't know. It was definitely very, very fun. On Saturday evening, so after the second day of the competition, we did our states relay, which is an unofficial event where we had teams of 3 from different states across the region going into like a head-to-head format, and that's something we've been doing at the past few years, and it's always been received very, very well. And there's always a lot of cheering for everyone. We had this year, our winner was the home team, Kentucky.
Oh.
Kentucky won, so it was very exciting to see the home team win this year.
And were there other unofficial events?
Not this year. We limited it to just the states relay this year, just so we didn't have too long of days. But some people did unofficial events, like outside of the competition, but we didn't do anything specifically supported by the competition. It's definitely really fun to be in Louisville. I've only been to the city one time before for a competition, and I was only there during the competition and left immediately. So it's kind of nice to just be able to enjoy the city a little bit too, just in a place I've never been before.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to see a city that maybe you would never have been to in your life if it wasn't for cubing.
Yeah, exactly.
So it sounds like everything went smoothly with Great Lakes. I know it's a lot to organize, and I know it's a lot to think through and plan. What tips do you have for any delegates or organizers who are looking to plan a larger size competition?
I was a part of the organization team for both Great Lakes 2023 and 2024. In terms of the organization for Great Lakes 2023, to be completely honest, it was not a great experience for us. We learned a lot from that, mainly just because we did not really have very specific goals in mind for what we were trying to do. Didn't really have well-defined roles within the organization team. It was kind of a lot of thinking about, okay, we need to get this thing done, and then someone would just do it. So this year, we ended up actually making a nice little to-do list well in advance and gave everyone specific roles that they will need to complete before going up to the competition. We had pretty consistent video calls where we would discuss, okay, what are the things we need to do this week, this month, to get ready. And overall, this year went a lot more smoothly in terms of the organization than last year did. And we're really excited to be able to keep going and make it even better next year.
And have you announced where next year is, or do you have the location yet?
We are already working on Great Lakes Championships 2025. We're not quite ready to announce the location, but we are in our early stages in planning.
And are the celebrity cubers coming back? How do you get them there?
They just decide that they want to come, I guess. We didn't really ask them specifically. We just make a very enticing competition that they want to come to.
Okay. And was it sponsored?
Yeah, so this year we had the competition was sponsored by the Cubicle. They provided some prizes for all of our podiums and our Great Lakes champions. Pretty standard for what we've done in the past when we're working with them.
Okay. And spectators, did you find there were many who did not have a cuber in the family, or at least a competitor at Great Lakes in the family, but they were coming to watch the competition or to meet some of the celebrities?
Yeah, there was definitely some who were not there to compete, but just there to watch. It's always great to meet those people. A lot of times, it's people who may be more worried about going to their first competition, a little bit nervous about it. It's a completely normal reaction to have. But always at this competition and at all other competitions where we see people come without competing, the reaction is almost always, okay, I want to do this now. So I will say that if you're thinking about, you're not unsure if you want to attend a competition or not and want to compete, definitely sign up. It's always a great experience for everyone, new competitors and experienced competitors alike.
So you've told me that you're going to be attending Worlds. What are you looking forward to there?
Yeah, so I actually was just in Seattle this year for the Northwest Championship, so it's really fun. I'm really excited to be back in the area. It's an area that I really like a lot. And I'm really excited to be able to once again see all of the cubers and more that I was able to meet last year in Korea. It's always a great time to have cubers from across the world always meet up together and be able to put faces to the names that you've seen all over the years.
Thank you, Carter. I appreciate your time sharing about the Great Lakes Championships. And yes, sounds like it'll be an exciting event next year as well.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
So thank you to all the organizers and delegates on a great Great Lakes Championship. It's so wonderful how you volunteer your time to make events like this happen. And congratulations to all the competitors. I'm hoping I get to see one of these spinny trophies one day. And of course, thank you again, Carter, for your time sharing about the 2024 Great Lakes Championships. Again, you will hear more of Carter's journey on a future episode of Speedcubing 101. By the way, he is not the only cuber in his family. He's even not the only delegate in his family. His mom is a delegate and she also competes. Carter mentioned to me that she is working on being sub 20 for 3x3, which is very, very impressive. I wish. Special thanks to Cube Mom Original, Wendy Nieuwland, for connecting me with Carter. She was at the Great Lakes Championships representing Canada. I think Wendy and her son Lucas were the only competitors representing Canada at the Great Lakes Championships. I'm sure the fun was worth the trip in itself, but it is an added bonus when Lucas got an NR2 in clock for single. His time was 2.77 seconds. And yes, that's an NR2. So Dilshan, you still have NR1. Dilshan Sidhu is in BC and a regular at Pacific Northwest comps. Now, in more Cube news, since my last episode, more information about the World Championships in Seattle, July 3rd to 6th, 2025, at the Seattle Convention Center has been released. There are now dates for when registration phases open, links to hotels with a special rate for World Championships attendees. There's also information on how you can volunteer. All this info is at cubingusa.org/worlds. Again, that's cubingusa.org/worlds. Another update is it's still on my roadmap to get these episodes on YouTube. I just need to sit down and upload everything, but I just got to find that block of time, which is eluding me right now. Another bit of Cube news, if you're into FTO, the Diane FTO is available now. And finally, for this week's Cube news, this is about the technical side of things. And shout out, thank you to the software team who's been working on this. Again, these are all volunteers giving their time to improve the registration system. If you registered for a comp recently, you may have noticed this already, but if you haven't, you'll see this when you register for your next comp. There have been a bunch of improvements, including how they manage the wait list. I am not the right person to share about this, but I do know someone I'm going to ask who can hopefully be on the next episode to share. But I did want to mention it here because if you were like, whoa, something is different here, well, there's a reason for it, and it is intentional. All right, that brings us to the end of episode 11. If you have any questions, suggestions, or corrections for this or any episode of Speedcubing 101, do let me know. My email is cubemomofficial@gmail.com. You can also reach out to me on Instagram, cubemomofficial. I am loving making this podcast. It does take time. I actually recorded that piece with Carter from my car in front of my daughter's dance studio. And after I finish recording this, I'm off to a cube club. I volunteer at an elementary school where we have over 40 kids every week coming to Cube Club. Some are hanging out and wanting to experiment with the cubes. Others are very serious about learning and solving. And then we have our advanced group who is looking to learn about competing. Anyhow, whether you are listening to this at the beginning, middle, or end of your day, thank you so much for listening. I appreciate it. Please subscribe to stay tuned for more episodes of Speedcubing 101. Happy cubing and go, cubers, go.